The moment love turned silent, what really happened to Freen and Becky? There was a time when their laughter filled every corner of the internet. When one smile from Freen Sorocha could light up Becky Armstrong's eyes, and the world would melt in collective awe. But now, the world watches in quiet confusion. No laughter. No shared stage moments. No lingering glances. Just silence. A silence that hurts more than any goodbye ever could. The beginning. 2 stars, 1 destiny. When Gap, the series premiered in 2022, it wasn't just another GL drama. It was a revolution. And at the heart of that revolution were 2 souls who seemed destined to find each other. Freen, calm and mature, the protector. Becky, bright and innocent, the light. Together they were poetry in motion. The chemistry wasn't written in the script. It was felt. Fans could sense it through the way Freen's gaze softened whenever Becky spoke. And how Becky's laughter always found its way back to Freen's direction. They became something beyond co-stars. They became a phenomenon. A heartbeat shared by millions of fans across the world. Connection too real. Every interview felt unscripted. Every live event a love story unfolding in real time. When Becky stumbled over Thai words, Freen would whisper translations with that familiar tenderness. When Freen looked tired, Becky's hand would find hers. Quietly, naturally, instinctively. It was never about showmanship. It was about comfort. That quiet, steady understanding that only 2 people deeply connected can share. One fan wrote on X, Twitter, "They don't even need to touch to feel close. The air between them speaks." And indeed it did. The shift, from warmth to distance. But love stories, even the most magical ones, are fragile under the weight of fame. By late 2023, something had changed. Their schedules became separate. Fan meets that once featured both now had them solo. Smiles seemed practiced. Laughter shorter. The shift was so subtle that only the most devoted fans noticed it at first. But soon, even casual observers began to feel the gap between Freen and Becky. The duo that once felt inseparable now seemed divided by something invisible and painful. The silence that followed. They stopped posting each other. Stopped mentioning each other's names. Stopped showing up together. And the silence grew heavier. Fans started searching for answers. Was it agency control? A personal fallout? Or just exhaustion from constant public scrutiny? Speculations flooded social media. Maybe they're protecting something private. Maybe they drifted apart. Maybe love just changed. But through it all, neither Freen nor Becky spoke. Not to confirm. Not to deny. Just silence. The hidden pain. Reading between the lines. In a world that dissects every gesture, silence becomes a language of its own. Becky posted a story that said, "You can love someone deeply, and still let them go." Days later, Freen shared a caption that read, "The hardest part is pretending you're okay when your heart still remembers." Fans connected the dots instantly. The 2 posts weren't random. They were reflections, echoes of each other. They weren't angry. They weren't cold. They were grieving. Quietly. Separately. Theories, rumors, and the weight of the spotlight. Some insiders hinted that fame had created distance, that their management wanted them to focus on individual branding. Others whispered that personal boundaries blurred between work and real life, making things complicated. Whatever the reason, the pressure of being Freen and Becky, the world's favorite duo, had taken its toll. An entertainment columnist noted, "They were expected to be together even when they weren't allowed to be human." And maybe that's the quiet tragedy of their story. Love turned into performance, connection turned into pressure. A glimpse of what was left. Months later, at a public award ceremony, both appeared, for the first time in months, on the same stage. They didn't stand side by side, but when Becky walked past, Freen's eyes followed. For a split second they met. That same spark from Gap flickered again. Fans captured the moment, looping it endlessly online. The caption read, "Even silence can't erase what was once real." The fans who never gave up. The fandom, now quieter but stronger than ever, continues to believe. They call themselves keepers of the light, preserving every memory, every smile, every quote. One fan wrote, "Maybe they're just taking a breath. Maybe silence is their way of saying, we still care." Another said tearfully, "They taught us that love isn't about always being seen, it's about always being felt." And that's what Freen and Becky left behind. Not gossip, not drama, but a legacy of emotion. The moment love turned silent. Maybe this isn't a breakup story. Maybe it's a story of two people learning to love differently. Quietly, privately, without the world watching. Because sometimes, the loudest kind of love isn't in the words we say, but in the silences we keep. They may not say it anymore, but their eyes still remember. Freen and Becky may have chosen silence, but their story continues to echo. Softly, endlessly, beautifully. In every heart that once felt what they shared. The truth behind the silence. Perhaps the truth is simple. They loved. Maybe too deeply, too sincerely. And when the world got too loud, they chose to protect it with silence. Because not every love is meant to be understood. Some are meant to be felt, remembered, and cherished, even when the words stop coming. And in every quiet moment, every fan edit, every glance from old footage, their story still breathes. Final words. Maybe love didn't die. Maybe it just learned how to live in silence. Because sometimes the loudest, "I love you," is the one never spoken, but forever understood.